So, while we talk about the Celtics, it seems like they're going to be able to close out this series as we both predict tomorrow night. Let's kind of look ahead to the finals, a potential series between the Warriors and the Celtics, real quick. Um, something I noticed is Boston. It seems like they've been significantly better than Miami for good stretches of this series, but they've allowed the Heat to kind of stick in it. Kind of some erratic play at times. Turnover issues. When they're in the half court, they're outscoring the Heat by 12 points per 100 possessions. So I mean, if they weren't turning the ball over and allowing the Heat to score, in transition, then I feel like the series would probably be over by now with Miami struggles. Do you think that's something that the Warriors are going to be able to take advantage of potentially in the finals?
Do I think the Warriors will be able to take advantage of Boston turning the ball over? Um, theoretically, theoretically, yes. Um, and an actual application, I think we've seen with the motion-based offense the Warriors run. Everyone likes to call it carelessness. Some of it is just that there's a lot of reads, and sometimes the reads are sometimes people aren't on the same page. The Warriors turn the ball over a ton. Uh, if it is truly going to be a Warriors Celtics finals, I think there's a decent chance. I think there's a decent chance we just end up seeing, and we'll probably get a game or two where there's like 45 combined turnovers.
What is your early opinion on those two teams if they were to match up? Beyond the Warriors trying to take advantage of the Celtics in transition. How do you think those two teams match up? Just when you kind of look at them on the surface.
I think the Warriors struggle with. I think the Warriors really only have one trusted wing defender, like trusted guy who can guard on the wing right now,
Wiggins.
and that's Andrew Wiggins, yeah. And the Warriors, or not the Warriors, sorry, the Celtics have two guys on the wing who can score. That's going to be a problem. I think that's where you start with those two teams. Andrew Wiggins can't guard both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Whoever he doesn't guard is going to have a matchup he's probably going to be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, I think there's both ways that each team could make the other struggle at times. These are two of the better defenses. You just poked holes in the Warriors' defense, but they do have guys like Wiggins and Draymond obviously inside who can create a lot of problems at times. And with a team like Boston, who as we just talked about, they do have turnover issues at times. That might be something that they look to take advantage of. And I also think that the Warriors I just think they more consistently get better shots than the Celtics. So, if that's something that they're going to be able to do throughout, um, even if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are having good games consistently, I just feel like the Warriors have more if everybody's clicking.
I mean, I think that would be a really good series, and if all holds, that's probably the series we're getting. I think that'll be a really good series, right? Uh, I'm a obviously a huge believer in what Steph brings to the table, what Draymond brings to the table. Uh, I just think this is a Warriors team like this. It's just like the Celtics are just they're not a good matchup for anyone, but like all the stuff that the Warriors want to do, the Celtics can just switch. Like all the stuff the Warriors want to do offensively, the Celtics are just going to switch. They've got a ton of guys they can throw at Steph, like 5 guys, the different guys who like they'll be able to comfortably throw at Steph. In a lot of ways, this Celtics team, what they're going to do with Steph, it kind of reminds me of what the Warriors used to be able to do with LeBron, where like obviously you have the guys you want to primarily guard Steph. For the Celtics, I'm sure that'll be Marcus Smart. Um, but like in the same way that with the Warriors in those finals matchups, it was always Andre Iguodala that they wanted to be the primary matchup with Bron. And a lot of times they would match Iggy's minutes to Bron's minutes. Um, but like Klay Thompson could do the job, and Klay Thompson could do the job for stretches. Draymond Green could do the job for stretches. You know, when they had him, Sean Livingston could do the job for stretches. And so all of those guys would see time on LeBron. And it's tough to make that work when they can just throw so many different bodies at you. And I think it's going to be a similar dynamic with Boston. They're going to be able to put Marcus Smart on him. Jason Tatum will probably see some time there. Derek White will probably see time there, although that's less comfy matchup. And even like Jaylen Brown will see some time there. So like we've got a lot of capable. They've got a lot of we'll say capable defensive players that they can throw at him.
Yeah, so you mentioned, both teams like to switch a lot. With two teams that do so, a lot of the times in close games late, we see, teams hunt mismatches. What are a couple guys on either side that you think will potentially get hunted if we do see the series?
So, and this is part of why, this is not going to be a spoiler alert to anybody who's been tapping in with us over here. I'm going to pick the Celtics in that series. As far as late game and matchup hunting, we know Boston will do that. If anything, they have a tendency to do it too much. They have a very bad habit of running offense that gets them the lead or gets them out to big leads, and then when they get that big lead, they stop doing the things that got them that big lead, and just try to maybe mismatch hunt or just go ISO with the Jays. That being said, the Jays are going to be hunting Steph Curry and Jordan Poole, and I think we know that, right? They'll be going at Steph Curry and Jordan Poole the same way Dallas has tried to go at those guys. And on the flip side, this is where it's tough. Boston doesn't really have guys you can point to like that. Where you're like, oh, we're gonna run through this guy defensively. It'll be Peyton Pritchard whenever he's on the court, but he doesn't play a ton, and maybe Daniel Tice, and like Jaylen Brown is the worst. Jaylen Brown is the worst defensive player in Boston's starting lineup / closing five.
Yeah.
That's
what I was going to say. Neither of those guys are on the floor in closing time. So, if you are hunting those matchups, it's not something, where on the other side, guys like Steph Curry are obviously going to be on the floor in those final minutes.
And Jordan Poole, yep.
We're obviously talking about the finals right now. Why don't we get our picks in for tomorrow night? So the Heat are going to Boston, trying to stave off elimination, force a Game 7 back in Miami. Boston's 8.5 point favorite. So who are you taking, and who are you taking against the spread?
That's a big number.
Yeah, Vegas. I think that's what probably Tyler Hero not expected to play at all, I would assume.
I'm also assuming he doesn't play. I'll take Boston, and I'll take Boston against that spread. I think they'll probably if there's no Tyler Hero, like Miami is going to scratch and claw and fight because that's what they do. They'll probably play great defense. Both teams will probably both be under 100 points. We might get a 2003 score tomorrow. That shit might be like 85-72 or something like that.
Yeah, that 93-80 last night wasn't too far off. Yeah,
Duncan Robinson got paid $90 million. Is getting $90 million from Miami, and they're looking at him like,
yeah, that deal's not looking so great right now.
I mean, it's not looking great because he doesn't touch the court, and I think they could do a little bit more in the way of protecting him, like stealing some more zone possessions. But like, I get why he's fallen out of favor a bit.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we saw when he was really in the rotation in that 2020 run, they actually did have to go 2-3 a lot. Not only, to hide his defensive inabilities, also Goran Dragic, and just, the team was playing better, when they threw out zones randomly against the Bucks and the Lakers and whatnot. But we've seen the complete opposite this title or this playoff run for the Heat, where he's barely even been able to crack minutes in close games. You got your picks in real quick, so I'll get in mine. I'm going to take Boston as well. I'll take them -8.5. So we're going to jump back into this Warriors Mavericks game. As the Warriors attempt to clinch a sixth finals appearance in the last 8 years. Make sure to check out our YouTube, Spotify, Twitter pages, and also, like, subscribe, and comment on this video. We're going to be going live throughout the entire playoffs. We got the finals started next week. So, be sure to tune in and check out our content. You can get all that in the description box.
You are listening to the Spoken Truth podcast live on YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube at Spoken Truth, and you can also follow us on Spotify. All you gotta do is type in Spoken Truth podcast in your search engine.